We need houses to rent. I have a lot of friends who are in different situations. We've got the teenagers who have finished 20-year-olds coming out of their degrees needing somewhere to rent. We've got people who work in the shops on lower incomes who need somewhere to rent. And I've also got older couples who life circumstances have changed with divorce, etc. They need somewhere to rent. And what we're finding is the rent's gone through the roof, that even if they rent somewhere, they're 56 days from a no-fault eviction. So the current market around here has gone up by another £100 a month. So the official 30th percentile that the government pay benefits on is currently £1,075, right? Well, you find a 3-bedroom house for £1,075. It doesn't exist around here. It was £1,300, it's now £1,400. And each postcode you look in, there's only about 4 houses at that price, and they're probably gone before you even look at them. The new developments that are being built are 90% for sale and 10% for social housing. Now, it's been exactly the same since I last started looking at this in 2014. So 10 years has gone by, nothing has changed to the formula. The market, the planning system isn't actually delivering what the housing market needs. So, young people need to be able to set up a home and start a family. And they're not doing so because they're still stuck at mum and dad's and friends of mum and dad's trying to sort of get their jobs going. The planning change that needs to happen is that for a short period, maybe 3-5 years, we need to make new developments change their outline planning permission to 50% or 100% rental houses. Now that's not social housing. Maybe 10% should go to social housing, maybe 20% to social housing. But we need houses to rent for people who are not eligible for benefits and things like that. Making housing associations buy some of the houses. And now, how do you fund that? Well, Angela Rayner doesn't seem to have any money for that. We're accused of all us pensioners of having stacks of money in the bank, and to there's some element, there's some truth in that. But we need a way of pensioners, and I mean early retirees as well as pensioners. But if you can invest that money in a housing bond, and a housing bond funds housing associations and responsible landlords to purchase the newly built houses and rent them out for a period of time. You've got to say, well, I could get 4% at the bank for the money I've got in interest. Well, maybe if I can get 5% through a housing bond with some security, with the government underwriting that debt, underwriting that loan, so my money is safe. And maybe we need to recalculate the way we do things and rebalance this housing market. And rather than demonizing private landlords, you actually encourage them to just keep increasing the quality of the stock. Now, a lot of landlords buy their houses off the auction market. They're very much in need of repair, and the private landlords bring them back up to a standard. The problem is that you've now stuck a 5% premium on top of stamp duty for second homes and rented houses, etc., which you're not even allowed to write off, against your income. So if anything, everyone's getting out of the rented housing market, and that's making it even harder for people to rent. Within our village, we get regular requests. Has anybody got anything to rent? And that's on top of the workers who want to move around the area. We live near a big oil refinery, and there's always oil workers who want to rent something. So what I'm calling on is for people to change the planning system, to take the housing estate that has permission for 350 houses. Well, there'd be 35, 40 houses go to social housing. We need to move those, we need to modify those planning applications and turn it into 350 houses to rent, or even 400, and change the design a bit. The other thing on those housing estates is that there's an awful lot of the sites where they put in things that are nice to have, like allotments, and they've put in orchards and on-street art and things like that. Well, it's great having on-street art, but not if you haven't got a home. Now, one of the cases I've been dealing with is somebody who got a 56-day eviction. They were paying $895 for their rent. They basically got 56-day eviction, and they suddenly leapt up to £1,300 a month. So we need planning reform. We need to finance the purchase of houses to rent, and have houses that are maybe for rent for 10 years, and then they can be sold into the housing market. And that way we will solve many of the problems. The money comes from pensioners who get a secure pensioners bond, housing bond, and a fair return. You don't work for nothing, and why should the pensioners? I'm Tony, Ant News. Like and subscribe.